4 years ago, we had a conversation which we call the Millennial Series, the Millennial Edition. And part of that conversation, we were basically trying to debunk some of the ideas the older folks used to say about millennials, basically. You know, you're lazy, you're entitled, you name it, the whole laundry list. And what we did is we challenged these stereotypes. We said, hey, look, we're grown-ups, you know, and we're coming of age, you're coming into the workplaces, you're making all these decisions as adults, and our lived experience is not like our folks. But then 4 years later, we are back here, and it's the same conversation, same idea of trying to debunk some of the stereotypes put out about Gen Zs, but also about ourselves and what it means to, you know, come into the workplace with a whole different set of realities, tech, you know, the economy, the society in general. And just to have this conversation today, I think I'll let my guests introduce themselves, starting to my immediate left.
My name is Kibunja. They call me the only MC with an LLB. I am a lawyer, farmer, MC, event host, and everything in between.
Well, if you start an introduction like that, man.
I know.
How do you introduce yourself? Anyway,
Yeah.
My name is Lynette Akeo. I am a programs officer by profession. Yeah, and I love life. Yes.
My name is Defense Mara. I am an intern at the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Karibuni sana, guys. So
Thank you.
over to you, Kibunja.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a story you're telling us just before we got started about, you know, contracts. You know, you work a lot with young people, and you
Yes.
tell them, you know what, this is the contract, this is what I want you to do. And then they'll sit down with it, edit it, send it back. They're like, no, it cannot read like this.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, I really salute Gen Zs. They have, for lack of a better word, the balls we millennials do not have. You can beep that if. Because they have the courage we did not have. So I work a lot with Gen Zs because you can't understand the event space or the social media space without them. These are guys who social media met them in either end of their primary school or middle high school. So they know their way around social media. I remember I joined Facebook when I finished Form 4. I didn't know what platform that was. The Xaxa, Thanks, TNX, like, what was I doing in those days? So, and I've worked with them. You send them a proposal or a contract. This is how we work. This is what you are expected to deliver. This is how you do the work. And this is how you report. And then they'll send back the same contract. This is how I will work. This is what I promised to deliver to you, and I will report A, B, C, D. And you're like, I should knock some sense into you. But then you sit down and you're like, okay, this guy has given me promises they know they can keep up to. So I am learning, I've not gotten there yet, but I'm learning how to adapt to their working system and how they operate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, interesting one there. Lynette,
Yes.
as a program officer, you're
Yes.
out there, you know, you're dealing with young people, your peers. I mean, how does the space look like in terms of your expectation of yourselves, but also of like work and the world out here?
With my point of view is us being in that space of programs and just trying to break the stereotypes that we have currently of, if you hear a program officer, you expect them to be an older person, a person who has experience, but then you come and train them and teach them and equip them with lessons that you have learned. They get to understand it better compared to someone who's older, the millennials, because they will come with script word to word. But then you see with us Gen Z, you'll come into that, like a story, like, okay, so unafaa kufanya hivi, unadu hivi, so it sticks better compared to the millennials. So just breaking the stereotypes, for me, it's for us as Gen Zs.
What are the biggest of the stereotypes? And I'm glad you said old, not old, but millennials.
I don't want to be caught out here and then people are like, oh no, lisema sisi ni wazee. So no, I'm trying to get my language very well. But case in point is how people perceive information. Mm-hmm. And the older generation believe in social media as a bad place, not a place where you can express your views openly without being judged. As in, when our parents were growing up, you could not tell your father, you've not done this, manzi hujafanya poa. And we're in that space where you can tell the president upfront, you've not done 1, 2, 3 according to your manifesto. And teaching our peers that, we are the next leaders of tomorrow. So how can we break that, the older people being in power and raising our own issues compared to them? Kwa sababu ukiambia mzee, I need food tomorrow. Yako, unajua enzi zetu, hiyo kwanza kitu ya enzi zetu, man. Hiyo ni 70s, man. We don't, it's
like
not giving like good vibes. But then you tell them, okay, you can speak like this in a good way.
Yeah.
And then you can raise your issues without you not kufeel ni kama umefinyiliwa mahali. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, interesting on there, especially in say how we perceive information. And just coming to your defense, you guys have information, should I say overload? It's everything all the time, coming at you. Whether it's information about, yourself, the world around you, does it ever feel like, this is, I mean, what does the space feel like? Especially given you guys are always online, it's...
I will say that information space can be overwhelming at times, especially when you haven't really gotten to know yourself as a person. It can be overwhelming such that you would want to fit in so many spaces. I would want to be this person on social media, online. I've seen them dress in this matter. I've seen them do certain things, whereas that is not your niche. So I think in as much as it can be overwhelming, it has its own advantages, such that you'll be able, it's a wide area where you can be able to look into and find your own space that you could be able to nurture it and grow into it and pretty much excel into it. So yeah.
So Kibunja, in this information space, you deal with information and people a lot.
Yeah.
So you're issuing work. These people work under you, and they tell you, this deadline of yours is not giving. What next?
This editing style is not giving.
Yeah, as it goes for this is the work, you do it, you report, and then now you're working with people who are telling you, you know what, in the handover Friday next week. Yeah, my mental health by the way.
I know, right?
It's very challenging, very challenging. But I think my benefit is because I switched careers, and I'm very open to change.
Yeah.
Switching from a mainstream 8 to 5 job into I only work weekends can be a very huge change. So for me, I think it's easier to listen and to hear them out. However, I really struggle because already I was in the system and the system is inside of me.
Yeah.
So I struggle before I accept like their terms and conditions. I really struggle. I have held so many team buildings for my team. I don't even understand sometimes why I was doing all those things. Because I want this thing done like this. You do this, you do this, you do this, and I will do this. But then they're like, no. Why am I doing this, yet I am good at this other thing?
Yeah.
Why do we need reports? I mean, you can see there's evidence of the work I have put in. Why am I reporting about the evidence? You can see it. If it's numbers, you can see them.
Yeah.
If it's views, you can see them. If it's like a turnover for ticket sales and promotion, you can see them. Why do I need to report? I'm like, you need to report so we can understand the formula. And then the formula is what we apply over and over. So now it becomes a system.
Yeah.
You get? But for them, it's like, systems are old school.
Yeah.
Spontaneous is the way to go.
Yeah.
So it's been a balance. I've been trying to really balance. First, you should hear them out, because the thing I love about Gen Zs is they are passionate. What they tell you they'll do, they are very, very passionate.
Okay.
And they'll give their heart. I mean, you see guys like pick up something on TikTok and push it, and they're like, I have a calendar. I sleep on Monday and Tuesday. I shoot on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So with that passion, they're applying their own system. So it's me adapting to systems are there and they make us work and they help us work. However, systems should not be boxed. This is how we should apply the system. So that's what I'm learning. Pole pole, day by day.
Yeah.
I'm learning how when things are giving and not giving.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because, I mean, when I think about it, just coming to you, Lynette,
Yes.
the idea of career, you know,
Yes, yes.
it used to be 8 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
You know, you do this, you'll be on this path for 50 years, retire, golden handshake. But then you guys are walking into the workplace at a point where even the idea of career really isn't, you know,
Yeah.
where do you start, where do you go, how do you measure where you are at, how do you figure out I'm actually progressing or this thing is not giving.
Hey,
Giving
now
it.
you're
You're
getting it. Now
progressing.
you're getting. Now you're progressing.
Yeah.
Career-wise, with us, I'll speak for myself again. Is we look at what you love doing. Like, what do I wake up in the morning? If I wake up in the morning and I'm coming to the office, do I feel motivated to come to this work? Because ideally, I don't know if it's scientifically proven, but the brain works 4 hours. Past 4 hours, you can't concentrate. And that's why you find most of us in the offices with earphones trying to distract ourselves. So a major career shift on what we want is not the normal, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, no offense to you. I want to be, but is it something that I can wake up in the morning and feel fulfilled? At the end of the day, if I leave the office, am I satisfied? That is number one. Number two, the money. It's not about ati sijui nini. Am I able to afford sherehe from Monday to Monday? Like, can I buy myself booze? Can I buy my friends? Like, there's that status quo that I am with my friends. I can, akuna hiyo kitu ya, oh, sijui changa, and then you're like there, you can't even changa do. So those are the two main factors that people check on. So it's either are you satisfied with what you're doing? But mostly what drives us is money. That I will not lie. And then there's that phrase in the Swiss, the lulu is the solulu. So if you can get, if you can get on it, and you're like, even if you struggle kidogo, but the money is good, as long as I can afford good shoes, not even good, like quality shoes, and then I can afford a good apartment, and I can host my friends for barbecue and nyama choma. That's it for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an interesting one. So then how does that work for your fellow Gen Zs who are still in that sort of traditional career track? I mean, what kind of conversations how are they navigating that space? Guys who still have to do the sort of very traditional brick and mortar, the old careers that are still around, you know, systems thing, kind of a thing.
And I would pick her point when she was saying the point of self-aware. Because our generation, we have the point of draining people. So Kibunja works 8 to 5. Me, I have a stable job where I can get to the office at 9:30 and leave at 3. So I'll call Kibunja, I'm like, hey bro, unafanya nini job paka sai? Na employee of the year alishachukuliwa match. Talk a job. You get? So we tend to drain the person who's working extra hard. In reality, they have their own struggles. But if they're not self-aware and they know that I'm in this job because I need to grow career-wise and I'm not there because of sherehe and money, then inakuja a bit of a conflict of interest. Yes.
Which is sort of interesting because then you're working with older folks.
Yes.
Some of whom still have, you know, the old expectations of ikazi utai handwrite. No, you dot your eyes, your T's, and you type, you know, Times New Roman, font 12, and you bind it and you please.
And you justify it.
Yes. What kind of conversation? How do you work around that tension? Because, you know, I'll go chat GPT, I'll get my, you know, type, do this for me. Yeah. But these guys, it's clerical 101. And of course, and this is just one example, but there are many spaces within the workplace and work dynamics where you have to deal with older folks. What kind of conversation do you have? How do you work around that tension?
Sad reality is we've not been able to break that intergenerational gap. In the sense, if I come, the older generation are used to the Times New Roman, font 12. If you have to Control A, Control J, you justify. But then me, I need to see some spaces over there. I don't need to write it down. I can just top of my head and think of an idea. But the older generation believe in, like you're saying, documenting everything to the latter. If you bring that conversation up with the older generation in the office, they tend to see it as you being rude and you not being in the position to learn. Which again, us as Gen Z, it's so hard for us to say, enyewe hapo nimekosa. Because we believe we are the know-it-all generation. Like, you guys don't know. You guys are old people and you don't understand how the system works. Us, we've hacked the system, but that's not the reality. And I really look forward to the days when we can have an office of the older generation and the Gen Z, and the older generation can say, okay, during our time we used to do numerical times New Roman, and now in your season you're working with Georgia or Cambria. So how can we come and meet at the middle? How can we do that together? But as of now, inakwanga sio kona kichwa ngumu, don't even work on that department. Kwanza watu wa sales and marketing, ukiona tu unaweza tu simu. Yes.
I mean, interesting. Just switching gears a bit, in terms of just the ideas around the society around you. One of the big things everyone keeps talking about, politics. You guys have an interesting take on politics. First of all, you guys didn't vote. You know, it's just FYI, like you guys did vote. What was, because you can't avoid politics in this country. It's all over. It's social media. Or is there a way to check out of it? You know, maybe there's a way to check out of it. I mean, how do you navigate your place within the society, knowing how much politics has an impact on everything you do? You know, electricity, you know, safety, roads, everything around you. Or does that even matter to you guys? As long as your a little nice place is working.
Tell us. As long as sherehe is there, politics does not matter.
Let defend start from there, then I'll pick it up from her.
Defend your stand.
Okay, in as much as the politics do affect us, I think one of the most challenging thing we face is that in as much as we would want to voice our issues out with what we want to be done in the change in politics and all, but we know it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, so why would we want to voice our issues and spend more time there? Whereas we know
nothing is going to change.
The system will always be the same. Nothing is going, and most of the people who have tried changing the system see where they're at right now. So the less you know about politics, the better. You get your job, get your money, and you continue with your life. I mean,
moving on swiftly.
You move on swiftly.
You move on
There's nothing
swiftly.
else you can do about it. The more you voice out, the more you get out there, you're saying something happened. I mean,
but see, politics will affect how you make your money and the economies of scale. So you have to
find other businesses and other avenues to make more money.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Gen Z always have a way out.
Yeah. Of everything.
Like
and
they are positive. They'll always figure it out. If you look now that what she's mentioned, like just look for another business. It's like they know, okay, this system is not changing. Sour. See, I go where the system is working.
Yeah.
So most of them are being exported.
Yeah.
I don't think I have found any Gen Z yet. I know they are there, but I've not found any Gen Z who's like, I'll stick in Kenya and I'll change. They're like, the moment I get an opportunity like this, I am living. I am living. Like, the other day we saw on Twitter a whole league in Australia, football league, was won by a full tribe from here, Kenya.
Yeah.
The Kalenjins went there, formed a football team, and they won the league.
Interesting.
They won. Yeah, they are foreigners, but they won the league that is there. It's local. So I feel like what we can borrow as millennials from them is there's always a way out. Because they'll always find a way out.
I mean, the thing is about if you start to control or if you want to control something that you have no control over, then you're wasting your time. So I'd rather focus on one thing that I know I have control over. I have control over my life, my career, the choices that I make with what I want to do with my money. So I'm good to go when it comes to that area. So nishini hapo with the whole politics issue.
Naitajipa siku moja.
Nainajipa siku moja alafu. I have no control over that. And it will take years for us to break that system.
Yeah.
So excuse me, but I'm focused with my life. Thank you.
But then it begs the question. It begs the question. You guys have been able to infiltrate the workspace and change a lot of how campaigns are done. We were influenced by adverts on TV. But you guys have changed too. We are influenced by adverts on social media. Don't you think yeah, by 0.00001 chance,
Yeah.
if you guys decide as Gen Zs, you know what? We'll chase everyone out of that parliament and we'll push for accountability of the government. We'll push for systems to work. We'll push for policies.
But who has told you, like, we've not tried to do that?
No, I'm not saying you've not tried.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, instead of saying we're not going to vote because the thing remains the same.
Yeah.
How about you? Because me, I believe Gen Zs will change the politics of this. If
Yeah.
ever Kenya is to experience
Yeah.
a revolution,
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
That's
show
where
it will
we
will.
come
come
from
from.
Gen. Us
Yeah.
millennials, we are cowards, like crazy. The system is inside of us and we're inside of the system.
Yeah.
Because our balance is, this one is an elder, we need to respect them. So you can tweet out of anger, and you're
And
like,
then you're like, nah.
change this word, change this sentence. Okay, wakinikujia sasa. Kuna kitu naweza nikujia nayo hapa, hakuna.
Yeah.
But for you guys, you wake up, you're like, toot, whoever, toot, these guys don't think about us, they can die in hell, etc, etc. So I feel like if Gen Zs consolidated that particular power of confidence, we'll speak our minds, I feel like the system would change. So I don't know where we can ignite the fire. Because when Gen Zs tweet, the rest of us,
Keep quiet.
no, we are there retweeting.
He's gonna reposting.
Yeah.
We follow the lead.
Which is interesting because
Yeah.
the politics also fades into, and especially in terms of what's happening in the country, it fades into, your place in it.
Yeah.
Ama you guys, it's, airport, I'm out of this place. I'll go find a
Greener pastures.
Greener
Yeah.
pastures.
What do you feel is your place in this country? Or, how do you make sense of where you are? Because
That's
at the end of the
question.
day, wherever you'll go, there'll always be somebody pulling those strings,
To even answer your question is, again, as much as we are the quote unquote the people who bring revolution in the country, but I feel like us as Gen Zs, we do not take the initiative to get a lot of information with regards to chapters in the constitutions and different articles in the constitution. Because case in point, we were doing some groundwork in one of the counties. I'll not say the name because they'll come for us. But we were in one of these counties and we just asked them a simple question.
Yeah.
So who knows what chapter 1, article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya says? Chapter 1, article, ukifungwa tu hivi, what's the first thing you see there? And sadly, no one knew in that place. So we had to tell them, okay, you need to go and read the Constitution, because now, even if you're raising your issues, you need to raise your issues based on, because right now, if you want to judge an MP or a governor or the president, you need to judge them based on the chapter 6. That is your leadership and integrity.
Yeah.
You need to judge them based on that. But you cannot judge people and ask yourself, what is your role as a Kenyan? And yet you have no idea on what the Constitution entails. So to me first, we need to learn as Gen Zs to grasp a lot of knowledge on how much power us as citizens have to make sure at the end of the day, at a year 1 shilling, it's being accounted for. Because right now, if you check, the debt cycle is on a different scale. And again, kama Gen Z, sisi atuangalii unga, atuangalii mafuta. Ile mzinga ulikuwa unabai 2,000. Sasa ni 3,500. That is 1,500 shillings. Hiyo ingekuwa chesa na maji na ka smoky na chipo. You get? Hapo so mekela foundations. That's because of now taxes now they have to. So I think we do not have a lot of knowledge on how or what's our role in bringing change, or what's our role in the Kenyan government per se. I think we're in those group of vibes, and inshallah, sio msa ataingia job, afanya mambo yake, hiyo ni fiti. Or ni Kibunja sata kwa MCA, najua nikienda kwa Kibunja nikitaka tenda, juu ni beshte yangu atanipea. And in reality, that's not how it's supposed to be. Yeah. So I don't know if I've answered the question correctly.
Yeah. Kibunja is
Posing,
almost
yeah,
convinced.
I'm posing.
Almost convinced.
Defense, do you want to add? Probably we can convince him.
Yeah.
I mean, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
I think we should equip ourselves with the knowledge. Read widely, not specifically because I am interested in this law thing that I'm doing
Yeah.
and stick to it. No, be diverse. No, be a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Know a little bit here and there about things so that when you're voicing your issues out there, at least you have something you're backing yourself up with.
Yeah.
So that when they come up to you, you say, no, but I'm doing it according to the law. I'm doing this according to my rights. I am within my rights. So there's nothing wrong that I'm doing here. So yeah.
You're still not convinced.
I am not convinced.
What's your point of view then?
My point of view is, you see how Gen Z takes up something and the thing becomes what the rest of us acclimatize to.
Yeah.
I really want them to take up governance and policies and pushing for the same, because Gen Zs have been able to simplify for us how to run our social media, our YouTubes, our how we interact socially. Because you see, for us, we didn't have boundaries. I can speak that for all millennials. They did not have boundaries. But Gen Zs are like, my mom is stressing me out. Block. Why? Mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you're in the office, you're working, you're like, hawana chakula huko nyumbani. Na nilipigiwa anko yangu ni mgonjwa.
Yeah.
Sasa lazima nifikirie. It's like, ni mgonjwa, enda hospitali. Like,
You know, okay, it's not a business.
amjakula,
Yeah.
kwani ma, what is the retirement money? I'm like, hey,
Pole pole.
mbona unauliza hiyo swali bwana? You get, like,
Yeah.
the same guts they have with asking. Like, they've taught us so much.
Yeah.
They've taught us, especially for millennials, I speak for myself, they've taught me to come out of my cocoon. Like me, I'll call out my parents or an elder. Hey, Apo, of course I'll be polite. For them, hey, polite is a word in the dictionary. For them, they'll call you out. Like, there's a time I was mentoring, okay, not mentoring, they wanted an opportunity to MC at a gig. I was like, Sawa, come. As soon as I get the crowd at a certain place, I'll give you the mic. So I gave them the mic. Hey, we're dancing. Siafikisha the crowd. And they're like, hey, mbona watu wa dance hizi vitu? Mbona mjui TikTok? I'm like, hey, calm down. Calm down. You have to deliver it in a polite
Polite
way.
way, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we finished the gig. He's like, okay, so unanilipa pesa ngapi? I'm like, nakulipa? You are here for apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Why am I paying you? No, I used fare. I bought a shoe. I bought clothes. I'm like, it's justified, but
Yeah.
you are
You're here,
here
yeah.
for apprenticeship.
To learn. Yeah.
You get? And I was like, I think it was like this guy, I'd have jumped through so many loops and hoops in my career as an MC that I'd be better than where I was. So I took that particular lesson.
Okay.
Of course, I paid them.
Yeah.
Because now you're
Eventually.
like, this guy will go on social media, they'll blast me, oh, I'm
Yeah.
losing people for free. I was not. You asked for the opportunity for free.
Yeah.
So I think, and I pray that this guy is the bag for governance and revolution
Right there.
bites them.
Yeah.
Because when I was in campus, I had energy.
Yeah.
I used to go for the protest, also because of my legal background. I was like, yeah, we are protesting for the right thing. Let's go. But then when the tear gas hits like this,
Yeah.
miss your town. Miss your town. But for them, they are willing to stand up for their rights.
Yeah.
Usually they were at a concert. I don't know the artist. It was packed. Tear gas was thrown. They came and complained on Twitter
Yeah.
until like the police were like, hey, Pole, but because of ABCD, now the police explained why they fired tear gas. They have the power
Yeah.
to make these people talk.
Which is interesting also because when you look at the numbers, like the actual statistics, the most educated generation, like as a country, we've always had successive generations getting better education. And what's interesting about that kind of education is that it's not just the usual uni or college. It's guys will go online and learn and try to apply what they've learned there out here, which is very different from what, for most of us, it was, this is a track. You do this, you do this, you do this, you jump this hoop, you graduate, go out there, get some industrial attachment, figure out something. This is a whole new space. I mean, what is your sense of, and especially in terms of knowledge acquisition? I know there's the big information TikTok, scroll everything, but then there is going out there to look for skills. How do you decide, of all these things you could do, how do you navigate? Because, I mean, honestly, it will be overwhelming. For most of us, it was a lawyer, engineer, doctor, architect,
teacher, architect.
Yeah.
Actually, teacher
Pretty
was...
You had 5 things to choose from, unless your folks were into fields that you are, unique and maybe to be there,
Yeah.
It was, these are the 7 things.
So the 7 top careers.
Yeah, you choose
is what
from.
all of us are aiming towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you go about navigating that space? All these things you could be, all these things you could do, you chose this, or you decide to go this way.
I'd say, again, we're driven by passion. So if I have a thing for speaking, so I'd go online and see what online universities offer good public speaking classes. What tools can I do for PR and communication? And we register for that. And mostly is so that by the time you get to that point of you speaking out your opinion, you're not speaking from a point of A, B, C, D, E, but you're speaking from a point of X, Y, Z, because you've understood that point. And we mostly rely on online classes full time.
Yeah.
Because the stress of going to class, again, it's not what?
It's not
giving. It's not giving. So mostly online classes. So you find what you're good at. If it's emceeing, of course, sijui kama iko. Online classes are emceeing. Or you look at someone who's gone ahead of you and you try and see. The beauty about us is we don't pick everything. We pluck a few leaves on what I can learn. So I can look at MC Kibunja, I can look at another MC and see Kibunja akianza anasema I'm the only MC with an LLB. Okay, so mini daktari. So I cannot say I'm the only MC with a doctorate or no. I think of retweaking.
The only MC anatibu sherehe.
Something like that to get.
Yeah.
So you see what things you can pluck. And majority, I would say, is we look at the Western people, how they carry out their things, how they carry out especially if you look at how the Gen Zs dress. It's the 60s, 70s outfits for the Western community. So you see something and then you try and tweak it to suit your environment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so next thing. I mean, what are you guys, your dreams for this country or your dreams for this continent?
Good question.
I mean, where do you see yourself and your place in it, and what do you want for it or not? Yeah.
Or will you be in this continent?
Yeah.
In the future.
Will be sure making an impact.
Yeah.
But okay, serious case is that I would want to make an impact in this country for sure. I do, but it's not easy. With all the challenges we face, you try to voice out an opinion. Oh, it's not this, let's go on this other direction. You wouldn't find so many people who would want to listen to you and who would want to maybe say, oh yeah, by the way, let's do this for a change and let's see how this is going to work, And I think from what I've learned working with millennials and the old people is that if they were collaborative enough to ensure that when we talk to them about our issues, they will be able to listen and try to incorporate what we are telling them. For sure, our systems would have sort of like changed by now, because also if they are rigid on their side, then this means we'll try and then itafika tu pahali tuseme, by the way, unajua ni nini? Acha ikuwe tu vile itakuwa, So, but if they are able to listen to us, I think we can be able to change it so that, for me, I want a better generation for the people coming. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that the next person who is going to come to my office,
Find a
I'll be
change.
able to listen to them. I'll be able to make them know that this is an open door policy place where they can be able to say, oh yes, by the way, we are doing this and this, but could we try and change it a little bit and see what our results are going to be? And if there's success to that, then what is the problem? Because I think so many people are afraid of the change. So many people are going to stick with whatever the system is. We are going to stick with it. But I think if we are given a chance to work ourselves and say this and this is not happening. Can we change this into this other aspect? Then I think we'll see a bit of a change there. And I feel like there will be making an impact, because as of now, especially when it comes to politics, we are not seeing any impact the Gen Z is making because of that. Because people are so rigid to the systems that are there. The minute you cannot break those systems now. But then again, if people were willing to listen, take the step of, by the way, we could incorporate this when it comes to our voting policy. Have Gen Zs ever been incorporated to things to do with voting, to things when it comes to like to things when it comes to voting and how we could pull up the masses to the polling stations. Incorporate maybe online systems of voting. Mambo kwenda kupiga line.
Kwamka saa 11 asubuhi.
Unaenda kupiga line kwa nini? Go, you wake up in the morning, my laptop on, a secure line where you could be able to vote, where it has a thumbprint or something. You'll be able to vote na unafunga laptop. Si nimevote.
Na umefanya kazi.
Yeah, you could be seeing people vote. So that's what I have to say.
Which is interesting, because when coups were happening in West Africa, like it was Gen Zs, of course, millennials as usual, the cowards at the back.
We're the cowards.
So, is this, I feel like when this political frustration gets there, all solutions on the table, is that, you're willing to do anything to be able to eventually fix this, if it came down to it? Because we've not seen that kind of, as you say, we've not seen that kind of a change. We've not seen that kind of incorporation. And where it's happening, these systems are slow. How far are you willing to go to make this thing work? Governance and politics.
Okay, when it comes to governance and politics, that is a very different spectrum, because when it comes to the whole YouTube, TikTok, social media aspect, that is different. We could be able to change it as much as we want to change it, because it only depends with one person. Oh yeah, you can talk to your manager, you can talk to your boss, and things are changed. But when it comes to governance and politics, these are things that have been rooted in us since colonialism. These things go way back, even before we were born. So when it comes to Kenya wanting all those sort of coup d'etats and something it's going to take, no, I don't think Kenya can get there.
Can get to that point.
I don't think Kenya can get there. The youth in Kenya are not ready for that. And in as much as maybe we could advocate for peaceful
protests.
Yeah, peaceful protests. But when it comes to maybe now let's go to war or something, no, I don't think we're there.
I'll be like, nah.
I love my life.
I love my life. It's not giving. I think with that, there was a conversation on Twitter recently, and they were talking about how the State House photography has changed. And as much as we do not appreciate that, but if you check how the previous presidents were getting their photos, or how the State House photography was done, it's totally different from what we get now from the current president. Because the photographer has understood taking a photo, but telling a lot of story on that. And that is a Gen Z, bruv. Yeah?
He's doing a good job.
He's doing a proper...
It's giving, eh?
It's giving. You see, in that point, like, to them sit down and say, okay, I think we need a different approach towards photography. So let's get Kibunja to come and do that work for us. If the older people had that same narrative, and now you see, because of his photography, now other photographers are picking a leaf from him, or like, okay, so this is how this person does his work. So I can also pick a leaf from there. So see, lazima nipige Kibunja picha akiwa hivi akiongea. No, I can take a photo. He's probably doing something, and then you're probably behind, but it tells something. Okay, he was speaking. He was saying something through that particular photo. And my point is pretty simple: is let's learn as the millennials and also as the Gen Z, learn to incorporate these people. Like I might not have a lot of ideas on how to push the country forward, because I feel like if I say inakwanga sio complain sana, and then if we start to go to the streets, of course the men in blue watakuja turushe tear gas, and the minute a Gen Z anaona tear gas, bruh,
Yeah.
I mean, naenda home.
But you are the same guys doing tear gas tutorials on TikTok.
tunaanza sasa inakuanga niyo like hiyo venye tunakuanga niyo psych on social media, but now the problem is kukuja kwa ground no iko na problem kidogo, because then you're like okay, so wakiniona tu hivi, that means if I go to an office casting point they'll ask for my good conduct. Wakifanya tu hivi ulishikwa Central, ulishikwa sijui Parklands, ulishikwa sijui wapi, and ideally you're just doing a peaceful protest towards bad governance that you have in that particular, in our particular Kenya. Okay. And tukipata hiyo point ya okay, ulishikwa je kufanya nini? Protests. Si lazima weke linki tu. So most of the time unapata it's so hard for us to do that revolution, because unajua ukishikwa inakwanga hii statement, good conduct yangu itaharibika. So na imagine nikikuja okay, nimefanyia protest alafu nothing has happened, because at the end of the day pia I'll go to the streets and hustle, and then defense, sorry to use you for example, Kibunja is an MP, akuja ambie defense, unataka pesa ngapi? Na vile sisi tunapenda mukuchu, nipatie meter. Kibunja will go out of his way to come and give this person a meter. So already, this one is already spoiled. So hata kama mimi nitakuwa na hiyo saikia, nataka tuende, itakuwa hard small.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. I mean, interesting perspective. But just coming back to the individual, more of, you know, as a cluster, beliefs, like, you know, you're looking at across all sort of matters of faith and, you know, a higher power, whatever. How do you guys navigate that space? Because the older folks, it used to be, yes, it's PCA, it's Islam, it is like this, you know, life member, you know.
Yeah.
But then you guys exploring interesting ways around it. I mean, how do you go about deciding what is, you know?
First things first, me, I'll use myself as an example. Me, I'll take that cross. I don't look at the older. I told my old man, me, there's no way me I'm going to your church, because I'll come and sleep. So me, I look at a place, my belief says, one, is there psych in this church? Like, can I dance? Because, you know, zile wimbo za kitambo, ilikuwa unaambiwa fungua Golden Bells number 15. I want to sing these modern songs. And then also pia, how, you know, there's a way you can, it's sad reality, the missionaries drilled religion like it's a must. Lazima usome Biblia, lazima ufanye hii na hii. And you want to be in a place where you can wake up in the morning and read the Bible, not because Kibunja amesema usome Biblia leo ama nakuchapa, but because you've understood what Christianity does to you. So, and for Gen Zs wako hiyo place yenye wako walk, wako okay, nafaa kusoma Bible because inafaa inisaidie. Si ati juu nimeambiwa na mzae nafaa kusoma Bible. That is according to their beliefs. And personal perspective, again, tunajijua. Like, zikuja kunishow kitu. Like, you can't, unajua sasa kama millennials, you can tell someone. And that's why there's this, hiyo watu wanasema breaking generational trauma and generation curses. Millennials and the older people have a lot of generational trauma. Umezoea kuambiwa wewe ni ng'ombe. So you've grown up knowing you're a cow. But ama unaambiwa umepeleka ng'ombe shule, umeuza ng'ombe, kupeleka ng'ombe shule. You get? So now you've grown with that angle that lazima uchapwe ndio ufanye kitu. Lazima, lakini sasa sisi we are like, okay, it's never that serious. Uko Max imekata mam. Tunaweza jaribu nini? Like you try to teach this person as much as you're umelemewa, you don't call them ati wewe ni ng'ombe, because it will be engraved in them. Because atakuwa akikumbuka tu hivi anakumbuka mimi vile nilishapwa. My cousin is older, yeye uniambia mimi watoto wangu nitawapiga. Ile kiboko nilikuwa nakula. And then now the kids, now my cousins, wako, my mom will not beat me. Me, I'll tell you, okay, sawa, nilifanya hivi na hivi na hivi. I promise not to do that again. And if we, I think tunawafunza that generational trauma needs to end with our parents. That we are slowly embracing gentle parenting. When we get to that point, when we get to be parents, you slowly embrace gentle parenting. Yes, yeah. That is as an individual.
You guys talk a lot about mental health.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about, choosing what to believe or not to believe. So there's no sort of that kind of cultural pressure to, you have to fit in this place, you have to believe this way, and you have to believe in this and not that. And
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I think one thing our parents don't get it is that for them, they don't appreciate that they brought us going to church. And then we're here, we're not going to church. I mean, they don't find the reasoning why these days we're not going to church, but I feel like they should give us, they should appreciate that whatever they taught us,
It's still there.
it's still there. It's instilled in us, and it's helping us in a way. It's just that they're not seeing it. But the values and the beliefs they taught us, going to church and all, it's still helping us up until now. Who we are right now is what they taught us kitambo. It's just that right now, the church also has evolved in a way. And this is something people don't want to talk about. But the church has also evolved in a way. So the Gen Z person will want to go to a church whereby the preacher also gets it and understands it. His preaching, he also incorporates that the world has changed. There are what are these called, factors right now that are affecting this generation that were not featured in the previous generation. There are things that are happening right now that were not happening kitambo. So the preacher also needs to understand the world is evolving. So we need to also evolve in our preaching. We need to see how are we going to attract these youth people to come to church? How are we going to attract them to be coming to church? By the way, if the youth were given that chance, and the churches will incorporate whatever the youth wanted in church, we don't want to come there and feel judged.
Exactly.
We don't want to come there and feel judged. We want to feel welcomed.
Yes.
We want to feel at home. And if you're not getting that, we will go and get it somewhere else. And that's why so many youth these days explore so many religious aspects or explore
avenues.
from Buddhism to whatever. You'll find them everywhere. Na alilelewa as a Catholic person, but you'll find this person right now saying, oh, I'm a Buddhist, or I do this and this, simply because of that. So I think, especially our churches in Kenya, if they want to see the youth in church, and it's not that the youth don't attend churches, they do, but it's just that they need to find a way of making them feel at home, making them feel like, you know what, you guys are living in this world right now with full of challenges. You guys did not pass through the challenges we are passing through right now. We need pastors, we need priests who are able to hear us and are able to understand the challenges we are facing. So if they're able to do so, then I think so many youth will be going to church.
Kibunja, what are you hearing? As the millennial who
I
has
might
to
be arrested. But in general, what I'm hearing is we need to listen to what Gen Z is saying. After listening, we need to understand their perspective and where they're coming from, and then accommodate them. Because those are the three things I've heard from the whole conversation. And I'd like to pick out what Defense said about collaborative kind of living, coexisting, because that's the thing millennials don't have from the older generation. That's the thing we personally, like, I'm learning from Gen Z. It's not, because millennials were taught it's either number one or number one.
It's not number two.
It's not number two.
It's
It's number one or number one. Because our parents were like, mi nilikuwa number one. Na kwa mzazi wa wako like, mi nilikuwa number one. I'm like, who was number last?
Who was number last? Then
Who was
everyone was
number
number
two?
yeah.
You get? So for us, we were taught number one. For the Gen Zs, they've been taught you are unique and you're special
Yes.
just the way you are.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There is that acceptance that they have that we millennials, and by the way, most millennials, I know most of my friends, they've come to accept themselves after therapy.
True.
Yes.
True.
Because if you go
Which
to
you guys don't want
therapist,
to go
you
to
will
therapy.
find it's either most of the millennials or Gen Zs who were raised by people who thought the millennial way is the only way.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
So you'll find most of those. It's very many young people in therapy rooms and seeing therapists. It's not the older generation because them, it's etched in them and they believe that's the only way.
Yeah.
So for us, we are in between.
Yeah.
You're trying to respect this older generation,
Yeah.
but then Gen Z is showing you so much freedom. You're like, hey, Germany, there's such a life. I can live such a life. So those three things, Yani, listen, understand, and accommodate them. Those are the three things I feel like we need to do for the Gen Zs. And I love the conversation, especially now hearing from them. Yeah, just assumed. I was just assuming, this guy is freestyle. When they get to 25, 30,
They
like
get it.
serious.
Yeah.
And then they change. I'm like, hey, they're now turning 27. Hey, they're turning 28. They're not changing, Buana. What's going on? So there's a system of life you can live.
Yeah.
Get and
Yeah.
I think for me, what has been beneficial is spending time with them. I feel younger. I feel like, hey, Bado, my life is still ahead of me. Because you'll never hear them talking about, oh, I'm planning to get to 30 to do something. No, I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
For us, for us, we're looking at, nikifika 25, ndakuwa na ABC. Jessica Gen Z akisema, I thought when I got to 25, I'd be married. Well, they're like, no, why not? Ati I'll buy my first car at 30. No, they're like,
Why not?
If you can.
If you have
Matatu
the
are not
money
giving.
right now,
Ubers are not giving. So they'll hustle and then you meet like a 22-year-old telling you, my dream car is a G-Wagon. Do you know how much it costs? Yeah, I know. But if you do ABCD, I can connect this and this and this.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid.
Yeah.
This is the part that will give me money. I will follow it. Bora ni pesa. Of course, there's places I'm like, okay, where's the moral code? Can we balance the moral code?
Yeah.
Oh, we talk about this thing.
Yeah.
But then they're like, no, we go for what they want. So you can borrow. I am borrowing from them. I'm borrowing collaboration, and I'm borrowing. The next thing I'm borrowing is being me and an apologetic.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you for
having the
that.
confidence
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
Have the confidence.
Thank you. This has been an amazing, amazing conversation.
Yeah.
It's always good to hear. You know, it's easier to throw around stereotypes. You know, they're this, they're not that. Why are you doing this? Why are you not doing that? Why are you doing this that way? You know, how do you even begin to think doing X, not Y? So it's always good to have this conversation. Much, much, much appreciated just hearing from you guys. And this is not really a build-up, but it's amazing coming back to this conversation, considering when we had the millennial one, it was still, there was still pushback. So, but then you guys are showing them dust. Now they have to listen. Proper character development. So it is good that we've had this conversation. Much, much appreciated to our guests. And for those joining us, this is part of an edition called the Gen Z edition, just speaking into where these young people, what are they doing? What do they believe in or not? What do they want to do or not? And in a sense, one word as we conclude, to capture, or one sentence to capture what we've talked about. Just one round, and just to tie it all up.
Like the whole conversation?
Yeah.
Informative for me.
Thank you.
Educative. Yes.
This has been a powerful conversation.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And
yours?
that is all from us.
Yours.
For mine has been eye-opening. Yeah. So that's all from us. Have a good night. See you same time, same place.